I've had a lot of difficulty shooting this video, mainly because things like this happen. There's background noise, my camera doesn't work, there's just things that I can't control that are interrupting it. The devil don't want me to make this video, that's all I'm gonna say. Because I'm gonna tell you something about his nature that is really gonna be revealing to you in your life, and it's really helped me. I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase here. The devil is the king of cheap shots. And that's what I've been telling a lot of my friends. However, I haven't realized that I really need that advice for myself. It's really just hit me recently. I've been dealing with a lot of frustration, with a lot of aggravation, impatience, and it's actually been really just like biting me like to the core recently. And I'm gonna fill you in a little bit. Things have been happening that are just out of my control. Things are happening that, rely on other people doing something that just really upsets me, doing something that just really grinds my gears, and something that I think that should not have been done. And in some cases, it feels like they're going out of their way to hurt me. And these things have been happening, and they're just really upsetting. And what I've always told my friends, especially when I talk about dealing with lust, which I might address soon on the channel, is the devil is the king of cheap shots. And a lot of the time you see a lot of common cheap shots, especially among men, but cheap shots are things that just really, really irk you. Now for me, my cheap shot was lust, and then I made sure I addressed it directly. Man, now my cheap shot is bugs flying in front of the camera. But my cheap shot was lust, and I addressed that. And then my cheap shot was getting aggravated at like games, or getting aggravated at sports, getting frustrated with people, getting aggravated at myself when I wasn't perfect. And these are things that the devil twists to make you unhappy. And I'm finally starting to notice it in my own life. Like, I just wasn't really happy a lot. I was just frustrated a lot. In these last 2 months, June and July, I've just been frustrated a lot. And I noticed there's a direct correlation with me just locking in, with me wanting to start preaching, with me wanting to talk on this channel, with me opening up my Bible and studying intently every single day, being enveloped in prayer, praying all the time. There seems to be a lot of correlation with me doing that, and then these things in these areas in my life that just happen that are out of my control, but that just really just irk me to the core, that really upset and aggravate me. And I've just been tilting more and more to this really aggravated state of like really just wanting to like tell people off, or like really just like directly like confronting people, doing things that might end up selling me later. And I finally, like, tonight was just the point where I'm an athlete. I was playing a sport, and I just like can't believe some of the things people will say if you make a mistake. And I'm thinking like, I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I treated people like that. But alas, here we are, and I'm getting treated like that. And I was just like so like upset going home. And then I finally realized the advice that I told other people. The devil is the king of cheap shots. And the more you grow in the Lord, the less susceptible you become to his attacks. Not because he doesn't attack you as much, because believe me, when you follow the Lord, you get attacked. A lot more. Spiritual warfare will increase, but the Lord helps you with that, right? So you're less susceptible to these spiritual attacks. But the attacks get more cheap because you can't get hit in a lot of places. When you put on the armor of God, the devil is going to look for any like sliver, any crack in the armor to target you with. So I want you to reflect on yourself. What is that like one area that you just really like, it just like, oh, it just grinds your gears, it just makes you like really upset? What's that area for you? And really take a long hard look and say, how is the devil poking me in that area so that I get frustrated, so that I fall behind in my walk with God? Because it just clicked now. God just gave me this word like 10 minutes ago because it's been so heavy on me and I just haven't realized it. I tell my friends this with lust. Like, lust can be your cheap shot because it's so difficult to avoid. It's so difficult to resist. It's so difficult to run away from. And so that can be the cheap shot because it is very cheap. You can just be like, oh yeah, lust. There you go. You lose. But when you conquer things like that, you start to notice that other areas of life start to become the cheap shot. And it's just little things. It's not these like massive parts of life that can really throw you off, you know? Because in the more obvious things, you obviously think like, oh, turn to the Lord. You know, like if a job doesn't go well or like a relationship doesn't work out, it's like, obviously, right? Turn to God. You're a Christian. These things happen. You're a Christian. Turn to God. But then it's just like the little things that really start to bug me, that have started to bug me recently, that just have really irked me. And so what I warn you about is I've finally realized, like, these are the cheap shots. It's not those big obvious cheap shots, like the relationship, like the job, like, you know, this person treating you badly or whatever it might be. It's those little things, you know. It's like you're talking to this person, oh, there might be some interest there, oh, but it doesn't work out, and then it happens again, and then it happens again. You know, it's just like the repetition of things. It's like, man, am I just unattractive? Like, do people just not like me? You know, am I never gonna find like a godly relationship? Like where are my options, you know? And you hear a lot of that. You hear a lot of complaining, or you hear like, man, like, why are these people being so mean? Like, I at least in my situation, right, I am so patient with my teammates. I am so patient when people make mistakes and whatnot. And then the minute I turn around and do something wrong, it's just like, I just never hear the end of it. And that kind of stuff really bugs me, when it's like, I'm clearly giving you a mile and you're not even giving me an inch. A lot of the times I just forget to pray about it. I forget to give it to the Lord. And mostly I just forget that that's the devil just trying to wriggle his way in any way that he can to get to me, to deter me from my walk, to make me angry, to make me resentful and upset. And now that I can finally just like, I sat there for a second and God was like, you know you're getting cheap shotted, right? And I was like, man, you're so right. Figure out what your cheap shots are, because the devil is just going to find every little crack in that armor of God to just poke you, to just try to throw you off the track. And the more you grow closer to the Lord, the more he's going to try to get these little cheap shots, right? Because you're becoming impervious to like lust, to sexual sin, to social approval. You know, you're doing the right thing. You're becoming immune to like people just like coming up to you and just being mean, or like people being rude, like off rip, and you don't even know them. And you're learning that, you know, treat people with kindness, you know, be patient. You know, the Lord has a plan for you, all this kind of stuff. So you know the general ways to combat like these attacks from the enemy just coming at you. And the more strengthened your armor gets, the more knowledge you have, the cheaper the devil has to get in order to get to you. And so those cracks can be so insignificant that, like, you know, that little pain in your arm, like, you don't even realize it's like making you like really angry like every day. You're just like, man, this pain is just annoying. But like that's what was happening to me. And, you know, just like these little things weren't working out, or like something like annoying happens, or like, why didn't this work out the way I wanted? Like, why is this person treating me this way? I'm nothing but nice to them. I see them all the time and they still think it's okay to do this. And I just didn't seem to realize that was just like making me like so angry all the time. So I say this, give it to the Lord, but most importantly, recognize that it's a cheap shot. Because once you recognize that the devil is literally just cheap shotting you, and it's not real, like this kind of, you know, sin matrix that's just pulled over your eyes, like, this matters. It's like, no, it doesn't. God matters. This matrix pulled over your eyes, nuh-uh, it doesn't matter at all. How those people treat you, how this happens, how that happens, just give it to the Lord. Just treat it like Jesus would treat it. And how would he do it? He would love them. He would love the person. He would just give it to the Lord, right? He gave everything to the Lord. He said, take this cup from me, but if it's your will, God, just let it be done. Right before he was crucified, he said that. So no matter what's going on with you, recognize the cheap shot, recognize that the devil does that, and then give it to the Lord, and don't let it bring you down. Because the devil wants you in a state where you're angry, where you're sad, where you're upset, right? He wants you in that like resentful state. He wants you like, you know, he just wants you in that state. Don't give that to him, because that gives him a foothold. And the Bible talks plenty about not giving a foothold to the devil. Don't give him that grip on you, because as soon as he has that grip, he can just drift you. Like I noticed a few times. I can give like plenty of examples, but like I've noticed just a few times recently, like I've been very upset talking about certain things and like seeking counsel with friends and my parents and whatnot, and I've like started cursing. Not often, you know, I quit swearing a while ago. I have a video actually about like just stop swearing. I'll flag it or whatever. In these like little explanations of these things that upset me, I notice I like might drop a swear word, and I'm like, I don't normally do that. And the devil's like was using that to like just like nudge me towards like this old way of life that I had, you know, this old way of thinking. And obviously I recognized it, you know, and the devil wants you in that spot. The devil wants you to be angry and upset and sad and just annoyed and like just resentful of the world. But give it to the Lord. Recognize that he wants you there, and because he wants you there, you shouldn't be there. So don't be there. The devil is the king of cheap shots. Recognize what your cheap shot is and don't let him get it on you. Oh, hallelujah. Praise God. Never stop defending the faith. Follow the call to Christ. And God bless you.